Good evening. Today we'll be talking about remedies for contract breach. My name is Mandy Garza, and of course, National American University. We'll be starting off with the table of contents. What is contract breach? The proof of there being a breach of contract. Remedies. There's money damages, restitution, recession, reformation, and specific performance. Then we'll touch base on concerns or opinions, and of course, the references. What is contract breach? When any party to a contract, whether oral or written, fails to perform any of the contract's terms, they may be found in breach of a contract. Proof of breach contract. A contract needs to be written up. Oral agreements are mainly ruled out. Proof of contract being broken and damages occur. In order for there to be any kind of breach between a contract, there has to be a contract set up. It cannot really be a verbal one, it has to be a written one to state that there is evidence that something was going to be done and it needed to be done within a certain amount of time, and rules and regulations were going to be set forth. Now, if there's no proof of it, then let's say the plaintiff cannot accuse anyone because there was never a contract issued. So, in order to prove it, you need to have a written up one. The oral ones are not going to be essential and are not going to be helpful at all. There needs to be a written contract stating that the person needed to do this or needed to do that. This is where the proof of contract being broken comes in too. And damages occur. If anything were to happen in it, you have proof to show that, damages were given to a property or a car or anything like that. At least you have that evidence plus the contract stating that nothing was supposed to happen, and now look at the damages that have occurred. Remedies. There are several types of remedies that will be discussed throughout the presentation and how they either hurt or help the breach of contract. This one is pretty much simple. It's just stating that within that throughout the PowerPoint, there's going to be at least 5 specific remedies that will either hurt or help a contract of breach. You'll hear them out, but depending on what you think, then that's just based on an opinion, because you'll believe that that certain remedy will work out more than another one. It just depends on you. Let's start off with the first one, which is money damages. Money damages is mainly about sum of money has compensation. Parties are entitled to a benefit of the bargain and extend damages that need to be covered. Meaning that any money that is being lost or that has been damaged within the contract breach has to be compensated. And that meaning all parties that have been involved within that contract, they have to be compensated for whoever fault that the contract was broken up with. And the extent of damages that need to be covered, meaning not only does the one who's being charged for breaking the contract needs to compensate the parties back with the money, but also needs to fix any damages that have occurred or that are occurring at the moment. Restitution, meaning restore injury party, no compensation or other earnings, and returns to plaintiffs. This one, I guess you can say by the information that is given that it works more towards the plaintiff than what it does for the one being accused, because you have to restore the injured party and there's no compensation whatsoever. As you can tell, the restitution is way opposite of the money damages. Recession, it simply means terminates contracts between two parties, the status quo ante, and frequently used. Out of all the remedies that I'll be talking about, this one is the third one, and mainly this one is used by a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of businesses, general population, and of course, this type of remedy It dismisses the contract between two parties or more, depending what the contract states. Reformation. This one is the fourth one of the remedies, and it involves the courts and the changed substance of contract to be corrected. Meaning, if there is a contract that has been broken and the parties cannot resolve it within themselves, then that's when the courts jump in and get involved and decide, okay, this is what's gonna happen. This is who's gonna end up paying back. These are the ones who are gonna get compensated. The damages are gonna get covered. Everything that was supposed to be handled, within the parties will now be handled by the courts. Which, in my opinion, I think it's a little bit more expensive because you not only have whoever ended up breaking up the contract has to pay back for all the damages that have occurred, or if there's any damages that were done, they would have to pay for all those damages, and then of course they would have to compensate and pay back all that money to all parties involved that were affected by the broken contract. And then to top it off, you have to pay for all the charges and fees that are included when it comes to appearing with the court. I just think this is one of the most complicated ones and one of the ones that could be avoided, but sometimes parties just don't know how to handle the broken contracts and they take it out of hand, and this is when the courts need to be involved. Specific performance. An equitable remedy usually comes in when money damages don't work out and when a contract is in dispute. This is the last one of the remedies, and I mean, this one, it can show that it's more, at ease, and it's when you can negotiate more with parties. But I think it's still kind of iffy, if you can say, because I don't know. You try to work out what you can with the parties that are involved with the broken contract. But at the end of the day, if nothing's working out, not even the courts, or the courts still hasn't come in, I mean, why not use specific performance? It's equitable, and it usually comes in when the money damages don't work out, and it helps when the contracts are already in dispute. Concerns and opinions. So, out of the 5 remedies that I mentioned, what do you think about the remedies? Which one do you think is more helpful? And of course, I would like to hear your opinions. Let's see. I think all the remedies, in my opinion, are good to a certain extent and depending on the situation that you're in. Now, which one do I think is more helpful? I mean, they're all helpful, like I said. They're all helpful and they all work out depending on the situation. But if you want to go with the situation that is occurring frequently or that you see more often, and one that probably work in general for any kind of situation, I would probably say and go back to the restitution, because all parties are involved, and whoever is found guilty, really whoever did actually break the contract, has to compensate anybody who was affected. Would you say you disagree or agree with me? But yet again, remember, this is just my opinion. Your opinion could be differently, but that's fine. And these are my references, and that's the end of the slide. Thank you for hearing my discussion.